have a man next to me. If there would be a boat and somebody had to steer the boat of the Deep House Renaissance, and he's probably going to hit me for this, but he would be the helmsman, DJ Dixon.
Good evening.
Do you consider yourself privileged with what you do?
Yes, very much so, because I love what I do. And obviously there's ups and downs, and since I'm doing this for about 20 years now, I think it is, yeah. I should do a 20 years in business tour soon. There's times where you're questioning yourself, of course, and you grow up, you come to a certain age, and you become kids, and you marry, and you ask yourself if this is really what it is. But so far, I still think it is, yes.
I mean, you're touring almost every weekend, and you're traveling the world. You're spending weekends doing parties. When you're DJing at a party Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then maybe even Sunday, how do you get yourself into this party mode? Isn't there sometimes also a spot where you say, I just want to be by myself?
Yes, very often. I don't know when it was, but there was a point where I realized it is a job. Obviously, everyone always thinks, and I still feel like this, that I love what I'm doing. And for a long time, I refused to say this is a job, because I always thought, like, if it is a job, it's bad. But it became a job. And it's how I earn my money. As simple as this. As everyone else, there needs to be something where you earn your money. And this is what I'm doing, and I'm happy that I have such a great job. This weekend is quite easy, actually. I'm going tomorrow to Napoli. I'm flying out very late, which means I'm arriving late, have a dinner, play, going to Saarbrücken, and then I'm home on Sunday. Cool. But the summer ahead looks very, very stressful, and there's always times where you wake up somewhere and you're questioning what you're doing and you want to be home, or with your friends, or on holidays, or somewhere else, but just not in this bed right now where you know my flight is leaving in 1 hour and 30 minutes, the driver is waiting outside in 30 minutes, you have to prepare, you have to go, you have to have this routine on the airport, you have to fly with this airline where when you're just about to fall asleep, there's someone saying that you should always wear the seatbelts and waking you up again, and blah, 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 all this first world problems, but they are problems.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that complaining on a really high level? I mean, I guess 90% of the people in the room would be dreaming of a lifestyle like this.
Of course it is. I know about this, but you know, there was a time when I thought that once I'm going to fly business class, everything is going to be easy. But it's not, because you just work more and you're more tired and you're more fucked up, actually. And the best gigs are mostly Sunday gigs, but actually they are the hardest because you're super tired. But maybe this is the reason why they always turn out to be really good at the end. And I actually realized the gigs that I anticipate most and that I know that are really, really good. So where I think they are sure shots. They are great, but because you have this anticipation already, you go out of the club and think like, oh, it was okay. Because you knew it's going to be great. And then there are these other gigs where you don't want to go, or you know it's going to be a hard crowd, or it's, I don't know, it's strange city, or whatever is the reason why you think like, oh, I don't want to go. Mostly these gigs turn out to be really good, because if they are okay, you're like, wow, amazing. I didn't expect that.
What is an amazing gig for you? If the people are screaming the most, or what makes an amazing gig for you?
I think the balance of being able to play what you want to play and getting a reaction for it. You know, there was a time when I was thinking that if I play this super crazy tune that no one will understand, this is what it is about. That's okay, yeah? But the great thing is that if the tune that you really like and that is strange, people actually understand. I realized that at a certain point that I have to work more on my skills to actually deliver the crazy tunes in a way that everyone thinks it's just a normal tune. Well, that changed a lot my playing, actually, yeah.
But what do you do if that doesn't happen? If you're there and you play this tune and you think like, wow, this is the most amazing tune, and the audience just doesn't get it.
It happens every second night. And I have millions of tracks with me where everyone will scream. So I have the confidence to say whatever I try, there's always the other version, you know. That is still something that I really like, but it's a safe way, you know.
Going back to the initial question, how do you motivate yourself when you have to DJ for weekends in a row and you don't want to be there, you rather be somewhere else, but you have to deliver in a way? Obviously there are substances to keep you awake, but I guess there are other ways to do it as well.
Actually, I realized just lately that since I have a family and I'm not able to record dig or listen to promos, getting new stuff from Monday to Wednesday anymore, or rarely, because there's private life, there's business, all the other things that I have to do. That all this happens on my way to the gigs. And I realized lately that it's very healthy for me, because then I download stuff in the hotel rooms the 4 hours before the gig, and there's 2 hours of listening through bullshit, but there's this 3 new tracks that you have on Friday, and you don't have them for 3 days already. You just have them super fresh, and you're excited to play them out. And this, for instance, is something that actually keeps it going, yeah.
So that's something that gets you motivated to get yourself out
basically
there.
it's music still. You know, it's this quest for something and finding something that amazes me, and I want to play it out.
So in your DJ sets, I think we're going to focus on the DJ side of things for a moment. How much is for you safe play and how much is pushing boundaries?
50-50. I don't really know exactly how to put it in percents, but I would say that a usual gig is 2.5 to 3 hours for me, and there's always this long gigs that are the better gigs, but reality is 3 out of 4 gigs are 2.5 hours. So I always tell myself that there needs to be this 2 moments, and that moments should be like 15 minutes, where people have the chance to leave. Where you basically divide a crowd or raise question marks. And sometimes that's in the very beginning. Sometimes I'm coming somewhere and thinking like, oh fuck, the resident DJ played whatever. And it's, if I keep on playing house now in a normal way, then no one will get it, you know. So I have to make a statement in the very beginning. Sometimes it's not like this. Sometimes the statement is 30 minutes before the end, and then at the end, you know. So it's always very different. But for me, in this short time frame of 2.5 hours, I would say there's 30 minutes, so 2 moments in my definition where I want to show something.
So you still believe that you have to teach the crowd and not only deliver and entertain?
I still do believe in that, but again, the best is if the crowd doesn't know that it's been taught. So the best is that I play this whatever tune that is really hitting me in a certain way, and I know it's not a sure dance floor bomb, you know, and the people are not leaving. The people don't realize it's crazy right now. They just think it's normal. So sometimes when I get feedback saying that, you know, yeah, your gig was cool, quite safe, right? I sometimes don't really know how to react to it, because on one hand I'm thinking like, yeah, that means I was very good, because this person didn't realize what kind of strange tunes I played. Sometimes I'm thinking like, maybe I was actually too safe, you know.
But you're in a position right now where basically people are eating out of your hands. They say, oh, it's DJ Dixon, so it has to be good. But I mean, you weren't always in this position. So how was it when you started out? I mean, you didn't always
I
had
don't
this
really
request,
think
right?
that I'm in this position, because obviously there's amazing gigs where everything goes by itself, yes. But I always try to put myself in a position that it's not too easy. So, in other words, I try to play places also where I might fail. Playing bigger stages, playing in a context with another big DJ that plays something much more safe, you know. In my definition, I was always in between scenes. In the very beginning, in between drum and bass or breakbeats, whatever it was called back then, and house. Then I was going through my whole Sonar collective scene, where I was in between this whole broken beat and again house scene. Now I'm in between house and techno. Techno in the definition that I'm playing like big stages. For instance, during the next 3 months, I might play 25 festivals, where I'm thinking the music that I'm playing is usually not played on that stage. But I want to play it in a way that people still get it. So it is not just easy going every weekend, you know. There's weekends in there where I'm failing, you know. I'm thinking like, okay, I played that festival, but fuck, they didn't get it, or I was bad, you know. There's also like playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday means that you are on Saturday and you just had an amazing night before and you can't even think straight, you know, but you have to perform and you have to go into the club and have to look okay, you know. And sometimes you don't have the possibilities to play the way you wanted to play, but the show must go on.
Do you ever feel intimidated in moments when you're in front of a large stage and you had a DJ who was playing really banging before you, and are there ever those moments where you say, I don't even know what to play?
Maybe this is the good thing right now that I would say 2 years ago it happened very often. But now maybe I'm more confident, or in a better position in terms that I'm actually thinking right now, if the DJ before me plays really bad, it's good for me.
But what if the crowd was responding really well to the DJ, even though you considered it to be really bad?
Most of the times I play in situations where people will not leave the first half hour that I started.
Why?
So I'm going to Napoli tomorrow, and the people, maybe not all came to because I'm playing there, because there's people that go regularly to the club, but basically people coming out to see me, you know. So I'm starting at the prime time, and they paid entrance, you know, so they spent money, and they wanted to see what's happening, and there's not 3 other floors where they can play listening to the other stuff. This is one floor, and you don't go after 20 minutes, you know. Even in these fast times that we are living in, you don't go after 20 minutes, maybe after 1 hour. So in my definition, I have half an hour to set a new atmosphere, and then take the people where I want them to take. And if the DJ before me is really bad and I take it down or in whatever directions, usually people are actually breathing again, you know. And then also, if I start at 3 o'clock, at 4 o'clock they are drunk anyway.
Okay, so alcohol is the key in the end still. I'm sure it's not the only thing. Maybe in the meantime, we talked about bad DJ sets. When you are in a club, and I guess you are spending quite amount of time in the club, what would you say is the most common mistake among DJs?
I would say the most common mistake is not playing what you actually really like. I think that even if I'm saying I have safe stuff and I have like experimental stuff or whatsoever, I really play what I like, and I rather have people leaving and thinking this was like weak, this was like too deep, too gay, too whatever, too safe, whatever. I rather have people leave with a strong opinion that is bad than having everyone in the club thinking like it was okay, like last week. And therefore, and this only happens if you really play what you really, really want to play. And I think this is one of the common mistakes. I think that most of the DJs play 60-70% of the stuff that they think they have to play, and only 30% of that what they really want to play.
Can you give an example for a track that's pushing boundaries right now for you?
So for a long time, actually, for me, one of my opening tracks was a Fortet remix that I actually discovered very late. I think it's from October last year or something, and I discovered it in Brazil in February, so I really missed out on it, for To Rococo Road. And I also know that no one knew about it. Not that it was a super unknown track, but for my audience it was. And what I wanted to say is that one of the things I'm doing is I'm doing a lot of edits that I don't call edits. So I have
only for you as well. You never release them anywhere.
I have this routine of calling something edit if it's just something to play out. If it is just I cut something out, I make it longer, I add a hi-hat or whatever. Just something very simple that has nothing importance, but it makes it better for me to play it out. This is what I call edit. And as soon as I put a Dixon edit on it in my playlist, then I did quite a lot of stuff with the track. And here, for instance, the original track is, I think, 11 minutes. And I decided that I wanted to use it as an opening track for a couple of sets. So I thought that 3.5 minutes is a good time of taking it down in a club. In other words, in this track, there's 3.5 minutes, no bass drum. And, no straight bass drum, sorry. And after 3.5 minutes then, if finally the straight bass drum comes in, people are kind of happy. But before that, they actually really don't understand. So I'm... This goes on for quite a while, and I skip a little bit, and then at some point I can't see it cannot see here where it is now while I'm skipping. There comes a 4/4 bass line, bass drum, and this is now with 3 minutes and 40. And actually, what I did then is the original is I think 6 minutes without a bass drum. And once the bass drum is in, no, actually the original is 8 minutes without the bass drum, and once the bass drum is in, it's only 1 minute. And I made a version where it's 3.5 minutes without the bass drum, and then 3.5 minutes with the bass drum, with the straight bass drum. So I looped all the stuff here now and edited hi-hats and a couple of things. I repeated stuff. I took the scream from the beginning that is usually not there and put it there again. And so I did a lot of stuff that is very simple and nothing that I am kind of proud of or whatsoever. It's just functional. And I do a lot of that stuff with tracks that I'm thinking they're somehow complicated, but I've squeezed them into my sets.
So that was just an edit, not a Dixon edit.
No, this is just something for me to play out, yeah.
With how many of your tunes do you do that usually? That you play?
50-60%.
And you do that at airports as well?
Yeah.
So whenever you see a DJ Dixon...
This is my weekend routine.
Whenever you see a DJ Dixon at the airport head nodding with headphones, and you're working on an edit. Okay.
Yeah,
I get it. Which are the criteria for you for a perfect song?
Song or track in general?
Track, okay. We have to separate between a DJ tool and a song.
I have to feel it. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's the same as hard to say what are my favorite songs or tracks. You know, it's. I know that if I give a definition now and then I look into my playlist and then there will be this one track that is totally different, but I really love it. So I cannot really answer it. I really just need to feel it. Or I had this discussion with George Levin that I worked with for quite a while as Wahoo, that he hardly believes in tracks or songs or albums that are standing the time, that are 30 years later as great as they are when they came out. And I was always like somehow fighting with that, saying that I believe much more in tracks that are perfect at that very moment, and they are like strange and they are new and fresh, but maybe 10 years later you even smile about them. Like the first hip-hop tracks, you know, when you listen to them today, you think like, oh, how crap are they produced, and how, you know, you have all these arguments. But at that time, they had a big impact. And so I'm always struggling between these two sides, but I prefer actually much more tracks that are important at that very year.
Okay. Talking of a project with Georg Levin, you did a project called Wahoo with him.
Yeah.
And he was more the musician, you maybe more the producer. How did the producing side of things work out for you? Do you consider it to be a key element of your career?
I usually say that I think I'm an amazing DJ, but I'm an okay producer. So for me, producing is, I think as a DJ, over all these years, I learned my skills in a way that I can just use them now. I will learn more, you know, but still I'm feeling like I can do what I want to do. As a producer, not. I'm still struggling, you know. Sometimes I'm sitting for like 2 months on a song and I realize, fuck, it doesn't work. And for a great producer, I would say, you know, he should realize after 2 days if it works or not. Plus, I'm surrounded by people that I highly admire as producers, where sometimes I'm looking at myself and thinking like, all right, it's great. It's okay what I'm doing.
You feel intimidated by the quality of their output?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, there's no DJ Dixon release yet. It's always just remixes, basically, which means, or edits or whatsoever, means taking ideas from other people that I consider already as being good, but squeeze them into something that I think is different and still good, or even better than the original. You know, you always had these executive producers. When the band came in, there was the sound engineer, there was the actual producer, and then there was the executive producer saying, this is shit, this is good, this is okay, take this out, leave this in. And I think I'm kind of like this, but as in these days, you know, there is not this group anymore. It's just me sitting on it and being also the producer then, and delivering the music also. But I'm maybe more an executive producer than a producer, yeah.
Some people say DJ Dixon is a control freak and comes across very arrogant. Why is that? Why do you think those people think that?
Because I'm a control freak. I don't know. I'm a control freak in a way. Yes, I am. With my job, I would say, not in normal life, but with my job. Plus, I have an opinion, and I'm not scared of saying stuff. You know, and maybe some people take this as arrogance, but that's their fault.
You always haven't been in this position. I mean, at least I sense it has been a constant upward stream. And do you have any vision where you want to go? Or is this the moment already?
I don't really know if, as when we choose the label name Innervisions, if that was really... I think it just felt good. And it's obviously a name of an album from Stevie Wonder. But it just felt good at that moment. Now, after all these years, I think it's actually a good description of how it is, you know, because there is no real vision that I'm thinking of. Mostly it's just naturally happens and comes from inside without that I know it is. I thought 5 years ago this is where we're gonna be. This is the level we're gonna reach. This is how far we can, how much people we can reach. You know, this is it. You know, and it's cool. You know, and a year later, we reached twice as much people. So I would have never thought that like for instance, I'm playing a lot of main stages on festivals this year. I would have never thought of this. It just naturally somehow happens. But it's good to control the stuff that you are doing. You know,
I was going to
not
say,
just letting it go.
Did it help to be a control freak?
It does help that you know. I think that we all in this business are, maybe not all, but 90% of people in this business are learning by doing, which means that you have to realize when you did mistakes. And this is one of the key things actually that I learned over the times that, for instance, when I was at Sonar Collective, which is a label that was guided by Jasanova and had like 6 different label heads, you know, and I realized that decision making there was a long process, and if there was a mistake, if there was a problem, no one actually thought that he made a mistake. It was always the other guys or everyone. So I learned that you have to basically analyze what you're doing and see what the mistake is and do something against it. And most people think that they learn just from the good things, you know.
Is there anything that you regret that you would have done different?
No, actually not, because I'm happy with what I'm doing at this very moment, and I think that all the stuff that was bullshit. I think I never did a major mistake in terms of like, oh, I should have paid my taxes earlier. I was doing it quite for a long time, black, you know, and I should have paid it earlier, because
hopefully
once I had to pay them, it was really hard. But anyway, I think that you're going through this learning process, and I also think that don't take it for granted what I'm saying. You know, I mean, do the mistakes yourself. It is what you learn from. If you work with a bad mastering guy, it's good that you worked with him. You know, then you appreciate the other guy that is good, and so on. You know, if you played in the wrong club, it's good you did this. You know.
Talking about decisions, I mean, you probably didn't always have in mind or told your parents when you were 5 years old that you want to become a DJ. You were always, or when you were young, you were quite a successful football player. And when was this moment where you knew, okay, this is going to be my profession of the future. This is what I'm going to earn my money with?
When I finished school, actually, and you had to actually the next logical step would have been to study. And around at that time, I had to quit my sport career, and due to problems with my knees. And yeah, I had to make the decision: going to study or doing stuff, because there was not really the master plan behind it. But I really felt like, again, there maybe is this Innervisions. I felt like this is what I really want to do, and even if in the first 10 years it was struggling.
I was going to say, I mean, it's not a decision that you can say, I'm become a DJ, because I guess a lot of people decide for themselves,
no,
okay, I want to be a DJ.
I wouldn't say I decided that I want to be a DJ. I just decided I don't want to go the other way. I want to follow something, studying, you know, doing this logical step in my career. I just decided I don't want to do this. I want to, as in my sport career, I want to focus 100% on it. I had a lot of people around me that, you know, did study and did music. I think none of them made it. I think all the people that I know that actually made it, whatever that means, that doesn't mean that they are the biggest money earner or the biggest stars, but they made it in terms of like they're happy with what they're doing and they're somehow successful for themselves. They all are people that actually did it 100%.
So you think that just believing in yourself is going to make you what you want to be?
No, I think finding out what is your strengths is. I know that it's always kind of cheeky to say that I'm thinking I'm an amazing DJ but an okay producer. But on the other hand, it is my strength to realize what I'm good in and what I'm not. And this is something that most, I'm surrounded by amazing producers. What they lack is they give me 10 tracks and they don't know which one of them is good. It's just what comes out of them and they think it's amazing, and 8 of them are maybe not good. But 2 are amazing, and you only will hear this 2 of them because someone picked them. Someone said, hey, this and this is amazing tunes, let's bring them out. And I think that everyone should, before you make decisions, you should try to look at yourself and carefully analyze or feel if it is what should be the next 20, 30 years for you, and if you are good in it.
So you constantly question yourself with what you do is what you really want to do, or did you already also had moments where you thought?
I thought I kind of run a label by myself. We had someone doing it for us. He left the label, and I thought, oh, we can do it I can do it myself, or we can do it ourselves, but we can't. We needed people to do certain stuff that we cannot do. It took 5 years to realize it, but you have to realize that. This is important, actually.
And Innervisions, the label that you run together with Arm, is very successful. You only release a very few releases every year, but I think it's safe to say that those are very key releases.
Thank you.
How did you? I mean, what would you say are the key elements behind the label? Why it is so successful?
I think an aesthetic of the label is important. Without realizing it, really, we branded it quite well in the beginning with having like an artwork where there was big Innervisions on it and numbers, which means after 5 or 6 releases, people were not just reading what kind of producer. When you were in the record shop and you looked at the wall, you could not just see actually what the new release, what kind of producer is behind it, but you saw that it is a new Innervision. And if you like number 2 and 4 already, you might like number 6. And this is something we did from the very beginning. Plus, we never made a second Ray, which is still today our biggest seller. And we somehow always try to go one step further, without thinking this is dramatically crazy or this is mind-changing. If Christian from Arm would say, sit here, he would say, I should not say that I'm very easily bored by stuff, because we have other reasons to do it. But reality is, I'm very easily bored by repetitions, yeah. So I don't want to release a record that sounds as much as the same as it sounded the record we released in November 2012. That obviously doesn't work all the time, but still we are looking for something that is actually going to be different.
But do you also look for new artists, or is it mostly that it's recommendations through friends, or?
It's
demos.
Recommendations through friends, always. I think we never had a demo that just came out of the blue. It was always that someone, a promoter from Montreal, contacted me and saying, hey, there's this one guy, he wanted to send you a demo, if you get it, listen to it. So if I like the promoter, I would have listened to it. And so it always works like this. It's always circles. The world is big, but it's not big. In the past, we actually never had that much producers from outside, but this year there's like 3 or 4 10 walls, for instance. Then the Secret Weapon that we released, there's 2 new guys on it. The next one is going to be Ryan Frank Wiedemann, the new the new Howling, yeah. Then there's a new guy from Canada, and then
from Montreal. From Montreal.
Then there's the new Arm, and then there comes another new guy. So it's crazy. A lot of new producers now. Yeah, which is a good sign. We're getting old,
time for the new generation.
How does the future look like for the label Innervision now? I know you had huge success the last few years. Speaking of the Lost in the Moment events, the one in Berghain, the one a few weeks ago in Amsterdam, and the one coming up next week in Barcelona, the one that sold out in, what was it, less than an hour. I was just wondering, what's the 2 hours? Sorry, what's the profile you want to keep, like the Innervision label now, when you receive such a great success?
Well, we are new in this field, so again, we are just making mistakes. We actually try to do parties that we think that we are in full control. It started with taking over Berkhain at Berkhain, where usually we actually the label to be on Panorama Bar floor, but we spoke to the guys and said like, hey, how would it be if we select the guys that are playing on the techno floor? And we realized when we did it, the parties got more and more successful. So the next step for us was to say, okay, let's do own parties where we're not just controlling the music, but also decorations or entrance fees or whatever, a lot of stuff. And so we did the party in Barcelona last year, and we're doing this again this year. And we realized we want to do some open air parties, but we don't want to call them Innervisions. Maybe like every other label would have done. Minus is doing Minus parties, Dynamic is doing Dynamic parties. We don't want to do it because we wanted to keep it open to stuff that you might not expect there. Sounds like more than it actually is. It's the same with like our store that we have. We don't call our online store, and now it's also a store that we have in Kreuzberg. We don't call it Innervision store. We call it Muting the Noise, because we believe in the fact that every single stuff that we're doing should be independent from the origin of it. So, in other words, if I retire next month, then it doesn't mean that Innervisions is gone. It doesn't mean that Muting the Noise is gone. Or if Muting the Noise goes bankrupt, Innervisions gets bankrupt next week, doesn't mean that Lost in a Moment is affected by that. And this I doesn't mean by any financial background. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you do it that, we believe in if you do it that way, you can establish all the brands by themselves, and they don't need to depend on each other. And maybe to answer your question, there's nothing big planned. We just do parties. This is what it is. You know, it's not rocket science. It's open air parties. We want to have a good time, and we felt in the past that when we did events that were like 2,000 people or something, there was always a big tension, and there was always like, I don't know, we felt there that the people that we actually like to be there, that they were not happy, and we want to do events where we think that our fans are happy.
Hello.
Hello.
As there's many producers around, and everybody is trying to promote the music, and nowadays it's like easier to like get your stuff out there. Like, what would be like an advice that you would give to a producer nowadays? If you could only tell one thing, is it just enough to put your track on SoundCloud, or would you like advise something else?
Don't promote your music.
Just focus on it.
That's it sounds funny, but I believe in that. I never tried to play in any club. I waited as long as people asked me to play there. I always thought that I'm in a better position then, because if someone finds out about me, he's keen on having me, and it's interesting for the person to find out about it. You know, we never did promotion for Muting the Noise, our online store, just because we wanted that people find out about it. Because in these days where everything is available, like this, it's interesting for people to discover something, and at least think it's special. You know. Or it becomes more special because people discover it and it's not served for breakfast, you know. And it's a long way, and but I believe in that very strongly. So I don't want to say, you know, don't do anything, but please don't over-promote yourself. And over-promote yourself means that it can happen. It can happen very easily. Yeah.
I have one short last question, maybe. Where's the name Dixon come from, or what does it stand for? Because I don't know too much about it.
Like Matt said earlier, I was young. No, Matt said he wasn't young. But it was a quick decision. I had a jacket from a college I was wearing around that time, and I thought I need I was playing breakbeats jungle in the beginning, and I thought I need an English name on my jacket in the back that I was wearing every day. There was Dixon and Scott College. I was thinking, okay, Dixon or Scott. 17.
Actually, I want to get back to that question because I think it's
And
really
I wanted
important.
to change it quite a lot.
To
You know,
what?
There was like every year I wanted to change it, but I thought with 18 that I want to lose all my fans if I changed my name. I had maybe 2, you know.
I think that the question that was just being asked is really important because I think it's very romantic to say, just wait for somebody to discover you, because I don't think that works anymore in this day and age.
I really believe the opposite. It doesn't mean that, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to you lock yourself and don't tell anyone, but you know, you have friends around you, you know, you can give it to them, you know, but they will give it to someone else maybe, and this someone else will discover you then. So it's not about yourself standing up and saying like, here I am, world, you know, please look at me.
Yeah, but then you're promoting yourself amongst your friends. Isn't that kind of the same thing?
I don't think it's the same thing. I think, okay, maybe that's the right answer. Promote yourself amongst your friends, and if I believe if you're good enough, your friends will tell others. And I think it works much more like this than posting on Facebook every week your mix to the world or sending it to me. I listen to something. If you tell me that he did something great, I rather listen to it than when he sends it to me and says like it's great, you know.
So when you were starting off as a DJ back then, you didn't send out those mixes because all those platforms didn't exist, and you just waited for bookings. What would you have done if they wouldn't have come in?
I would have studied maybe, you know, but I believed in myself, and I thought that well, maybe it's not right that I believed in myself. That's not true. I was enthusiastic, but I thought that I don't want to give it to that club owner, you know. I wanted to first be my friends to tell me that I'm great, and once that happened, they told the club owners, you know.
So you think that's part of your artistic integrity?
I do think so, yes.
Okay. So you told me earlier on that you brought a new Innervisions tune, and we've been talking about the label a little bit, so...
Yeah,
I
there's a lot of
think-
new Innervisions tune, but according to the topic, I brought a new track that is not finished, it's not mixed, it's not arranged.
So it's work in progress according
It's
to the
work in
theme
progress.
of the
I
night.
play it already, and I like it already. It should sound better. I think it's again a track that somehow how people might not connect to our label, and this is the reason why we bring it out.
Are you ever afraid of failing?
I'm afraid of actually failing for that very moment, but I'm not afraid in long term of failing. You know, it's as I said before that doing mistakes or fail is great because you can realize what you can do better. or what you should do differently. But for that very moment, of course, you know, when I'm realizing in the club that this is really, really rubbish right now, I'm standing there and I'm ashamed, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, right now, I guess you are resident advisor, top 10. You are traveling the world, and do you ever think of this could change any second? And what do you do to prevent it?
I don't think that it's going to change any second. I have the confidence that because of my career, I never had a, let's say, look at Arm, they had a big hit, Ray, where all of a sudden, out of the blue, I think we sold around 30, 40,000 of it, and then it went to Defected, and there it was number 3, if I remember right, in Spanish sales charts, and number 4 or 5 in Italy. So there came like really, really high out of nearly nothing. Being a deep house act that plays in Germany to big, having the chance to play trance stages, you know. I was never in that situation. I never had something where out of the blue I was on the top or higher. It was somehow a natural progress, and that's why I'm kind of confident that it's not going to change in the next second. But I try to make sure it's not changing. I try to always questioning myself, and I also think that I realize if I was bad. When I play somewhere and it was I was shit, not it was shit, but I was shit. I hate myself for that, and I try to be better the next time again. I carefully pick where I'm playing, which means I'm not playing only the super nice and safe clubs. I also put myself in situations like, let's say, look, I'm going to play in Ibiza for the Jamie Jones party, where I'm not sure if that really works, and I'm playing for Loco Dice at Ushuaia, which is a big club, and I might fail there, but I specifically picked that because I also have my Circle Loco gigs there, where I know it's going to be easy and great anyway. So I always try to have this balance of on one hand testing new things, new fields, but also go back and play little events or nerdy clubs to be balanced in that way.
Are there any other DJs that you look up to, except for the ones that directly surround you all the time?
I would like to be Gerd Jansson.
You would like to be Gerd Jansson?
Yes.
I think we can support that.
Yeah, I don't look at anyone up anymore. Not because I'm thinking I'm at high, just because musically no one inspired me in the last whatsoever years. In a way that I heard him like 3 or 4 times, and it always like was blowing me away. You know, there was always this. You know, there's always this DJs or performers, live acts or producers coming up that do something really relevant, that is important and great, and it's blowing me away. But a lot of them disappear after like 2 years, because they just repeat themselves. And yeah, because as I said before, it was relevant at that very moment, but time moves on, and the scene goes on, you know. And if you repeat yourself only, you disappear. So a lot of the moments that I had when I was going out, and I thought like, this is great. I listened to the same guy 2 years again, because I was on this Festival X and he was there too. And he either was playing rubbish in the way that he changed to bad, because he felt what he originally was doing was, and the people was not getting it anymore. So he plays techno now, you know, and he has a name, so people are still, like a lot of the dubstep guys, for instance. You know, it's like a lot of them produce something very relevant 3-4 years ago, and now a lot of them do techno and think it's really bad techno. And I don't understand it, you know, but it's how it happens very often.
But don't you think the constant quest for innovation can also be a trap? I mean, the fear of repeating yourself and always having to come up with something new.
Yeah, but you know, I don't think that what we're doing is it's game changing. But I think there's always this little, you know, going maybe 1/3 of a step further, you know. It's not about changing the direction and doing something crazy that no one has heard before. No, you know, we do house music. It's around for 25 whatever years, yeah, maybe 25, I don't know. It's around for such a long time, and I'm in this for such a long time, you know. So when I'm saying something is really new, on a long term, it's not really new, you know. It's just a little thing that you might not expect at this very moment.
So, going away from the club scene, DJ Dixon, when you come back home after traveling the world, what can we imagine you to be at home? What is Steffen Berkhahn at home? You have a little kid, you're married.
I'm tired, but I think that, especially since our son is born, I'm way more at home maybe in my head and actually physically. There's not that much to say about it. I'm just a normal guy, you know. I'm doing my
Watching
day-to-day,
FC Bayern München.
watching football, watching the kids, doing homework. My wife would say I should do more, but you know.
What do you switch off to?
Chess, my son, my wife, also my son, my wife, my son, chess, football, golf nowadays. I have millions of emails that I have to answer, which is a constant process. It's never like, all right, I finished today and tomorrow I work again and there comes new work. It's always like I finish and I know, fuck. There's this I should have done. People are waiting for this, but I couldn't because I was lazy or there was other things to do. And because of this, I'm constantly in the search for something that just gets me really away. Which is, for instance, chess. If you play chess, you know, you are not able to think about something else. Or, well, maybe if you watch football, you can do something else. But yeah, I'm not. If I'm, for instance, I'm this kind of guy I like to watch alone, maybe SMS with my close friends, you know, but I hated to watch here now the Champions League final, you know. I want to be alone, I want to watch it for myself, I want to analyze it for myself, I want to hate the players for myself, you know. And so maybe also I handle it in a way that I try to get away, you know. And that's also for golf. It's one of the sports or activities that if you go there, it takes 4 hours, you know. And if I'm jogging or if I'm doing whatever else, it's usually half an hour. But if I do this, mostly I'm still in the mood of thinking about what is a good name for our parties, you know. If I'm 4 hours on the golf course, it's basically easy going, but I realized that after 1 hour I'm actually there and not at home or in the office or in the studio anymore. So that's why I like this at the moment. Yeah.
I imagine that you have quite the vinyl collection, and I'm wondering with digital
Not anymore.
music. Not anymore. So talk about that. But
I had it. Yeah.
But so with the digital music and these songs that are so special and kind of capture the time, do you archive them somehow?
Yes, I do. Bad. That's again a time thing. I for instance, I'm playing with USB sticks right now. For the last 6 or 8 months already, I tried to make a folder with just all DJ Dixon productions, you know, just to have it. Because it happens quite often in a club that someone comes and says like, hey, can you play the Edges mix that you did back then? And I'm like, yeah, that's actually... half of the time I'm thinking, actually, it's maybe not a bad idea. 20% of the times I'm thinking it's not a bad idea. But the moments where I'm realizing, yeah, actually, that would be cool, I'm like, fuck, I don't have it with me. Next week I should make this. Same for Innervisions. Ask me for the Innervisions number 8, and I'm like, great idea, but fuck, where is it? It's not there. And obviously USB or storage is big. I have like a 256 gigabyte stick, you know. So there's a lot of space on there. I have certain rules what I'm not putting on. To USB, you have this huge amount of space, and I always had the fear that I get lost in it. So my storage system works that tomorrow I go to Napoli and I'm gonna play Napoli, and there will be around 6 new tracks, and I put them in one folder called Napoli, and they will stay in that folder, because the way it works for me is not 100% the track titles. It's more like remembering the moment where I played it first. Therefore, I have no folders of house, techno, whatsoever. I have one folder called classics, because there's this one moment in the night that I play a classic, and at that moment I want to have instant access. You know, I want to know where it is and I want to go for it. But mostly I want to look through folders and get new ideas by it. I don't want to know by the name of the folder what is in there. Well, I know what is in there, but don't want to be by the name of the folder being directed in the area again where what I'm gonna find there. I try to play not what is hip at the moment.
How do you say that? You look at the Beatport top 20 and then you say, okay, I'm not gonna play that.
No, it's more a general feeling of like this stuff is like coming up right now, and it's actually quite good, but everyone is playing it at the moment. And it's a feeling of like everyone is playing at the moment. Like when I know that there's other tracks that I'm thinking everyone should know that play them, but they are not. But still there's a certain feeling that I don't play certain labels just because I know everyone else is playing them and I want to be different. Problem obviously is that if I play that often, people are YouTubing and everyone knows what I'm playing, so that people might think, yeah, he plays that whatever again, just because I played for 3 weeks. And it's not even out, but people think like, it's this tune again. Like maybe, for instance, with the Agoria that is coming out on our label, there's so many YouTube videos of me playing that song that when I'm playing it, I already have the feeling that the people think like, oh God, this again. It's coming out in 3 months, and it's a wrong feeling, I know, because even if they saw it on YouTube, it's the first time that they are able to actually listen to it in a club. But still, there's this thing in me saying like, fuck, all right, it's a safe shot now. Okay, I do it.
But you've always been about new tracks, right? I always remember when I looked at the playlist, you always had the demos in there.
I have always, obviously, a lot of tracks that are not released yet, yes. It's part of the charm of my sets, I guess, and that's why I want to keep it that way. But as at, for instance, the 4-track that I played before, the remix for Toroko Korot, it was out there for half a year before I discovered it, and I played it, So, and actually, just today, I realized that there is a Ben Clock mix for Deepish Mode that's actually really great. It came out, I think, 3 years ago. At this time, I didn't check it, and now I will play it. So it's not only this.
I'd like to ask you 2 things. Your label is releasing vinyl, and you're playing with a laptop. Is this correct?
With a USB stick, yeah. I play with USB stick. Yeah.
Does the depth of sound, does it make a difference to you, vinyl and the MP3s you play, or the USB sticks?
No, the sound doesn't make any difference for me, for 2 reasons. I hardly see any clubs in the world. We are blessed here in Berlin, but I hardly see any clubs in the world where the turntables are set up right, and the sound is adjusted to the turntables, so the vinyl plus points are gone because of this. Second, I play a lot of new stuff, which I get as MP3s. I can sit there and say like, all right, I would love to have the waves, but realistically, 50% of the new stuff that I'm playing is on MP3. So what should I do? Should I not play it because it's on MP3? No, I play it. So I do play MP3s. Playing on a shit sound system means for me I play different music. Just as simple as this, I might play more songs, I might play less dubby tracks, just because the dubby tracks don't work on a shit sound system, So I would adjust to however the sound system is when I play. The other thing I wanted to say is that, yes, I do, because I get this question quite often, why are you playing with USB sticks, but you're producing records as a label, And the answer is quite simple. I believe that what I'm doing doesn't mean you have to do. And if you release music, I wanted to give all you, whatever format you use, the chance to play it. So if you like vinyl, you should have the chance to play vinyl. That's why we're releasing vinyl. If you like digital files, get our music as digital files. We offer all formats possible just because we want our audience to play whatever they prefer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are all eager to hear your tunes, especially yourselves. First up, I think we have to thank DJ Dixon for all the insights he gave us tonight.